Good morning. We're reading Lands of the Bible from the New American Bible Revised Edition or the St. Joseph Edition. Still getting through a couple of the preface parts of it, but hopefully soon enough we'll be jumping into Genesis. Looks like we're creeping up on it. Getting closer and closer, inching closer. It's taking a little bit of time, but how much longer we got? Not too much. I think maybe at the Pentateuch, preface to revised version, and then some timelines of the reported or recorded history of what allegedly happened. So let's dive right into it. This is on page 40 of Lands of the Bible. We're starting off with the single kingdom of Judah. Before we start anything, before we I get too ahead of myself, let's go ahead and do a initial prayer. So we'll start off with the Lord, speak to me and speak through me prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, creator of all things and the guide of my steps, I come to you today with an open and seeking heart. I long to know your presence more deeply and to align my life more closely with your will. Lord, speak to me. Open my ears to hear your voice amidst the noise of the world. Give me discernment to recognize your truth and wisdom in every circumstance. Quiet my distractions so that I may sit in the stillness and truly listen when you guide me. Lord, speak through me. Use my words to bring comfort, encouragement, and healing to those who are hurting. Fill my mouth with grace and truth so that I may point others toward your boundless love. Anoint my actions and my voice so that my life becomes a clear reflection of your character. Melt away my self-doubt and my pride, replacing them with your boldness and humility. Take complete control of my thoughts, my words, and my daily interactions today. In your holy and precious name I pray. Amen. So this is one thing that I was kind of thinking. I wanted to clean up the language and clean up the basically try to almost fit within a certain box when it came to reading the Bible and everything like that. And it seemed inauthentic. And so like I was kind of going through the thought process yesterday and the day before, and I was like, should I do it that way? Like, should I do it that way? And then I was just kind of like, I slept on it, and then I was just like woke up like thinking, like this was yesterday. I was kind of thinking a little bit later on. Like I woke up thinking this, and then I was kind of just processing a little bit further, and I was like one, don't want to be fake. Do want to be genuine and authentic, and so I don't want to be like hiding what I really think. I mean, obviously, I don't want to be like jumping off topic, going on all kinds of tangents everywhere, because the point is to be able to focus a little bit, and for the most part, at least, and be able to get through the Bible and try to read it for what it is. Don't want to be like overly critical and jump to conclusions or anything like that. So don't want to be on this extreme, but also don't want to be on the extreme of like just limiting what I think and feeling guilty for it or anything like that. Because I know a lot of people, they go to church, they don't want to ask stupid questions, or they don't want to feel like the questions that they ask are like, people are going, oh, they're going to think that's dumb, or they're going to think that like, oh, I'm like, I don't fit in, or I'm not like going to be one of them, or not, they're going to judge me or whatever. And they're afraid of that. But granted, a lot of churches are going to maybe be like that, where they're not going to be as welcoming, like anything that's like too different from the norm. It's like something that deviates too much. They're afraid of it, but that's like common human nature. Like they're gonna be what's it called, reluctant, or kind of just weary or apprehensive when it comes to change, right? And so you got to be able to show that you are genuinely putting in an authentic effort to learn more, to become enlightened, to be a better version of yourself that you are, whatever angle of life, whatever background, whatever part of life, or whatever part of the world you're coming from, whatever your background, culture, religion, beliefs, ideologies, philosophies, whatever makes you you. Like basically that, like if you want to say God made you that way, that's great. You want to say your environment made you that way, your parents made you that way, your friends made you that, whatever it is that made you that way and made you think the way you do and act the way you do, that is fine with it. Like I said, under the condition that you are trying to improve, trying to enlighten yourself, trying to connect with others better, trying to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, and recognizing that improvement and change is a necessary fundamental quality or aspect of becoming better and connecting better and being more successful and being able to gain wisdom and experience and being able to see things from different perspectives. The whole entire reason of reading this book is be able to try to understand where people who are very religious about Christianity and people that, especially on the more stubborn side of it, but one, trying to find a way to understand who they are and why they are the way they are, and then also trying to find a way to connect with them better, so that way we make sure that no one's left behind, that everybody is inclusive, so trying to be more inclusive. And I had another thought and it seemed to have faded away, but if I remember it, it'll come back to me. It usually comes back to me like, I don't know, it could be like 10 minutes later, days later. It usually always comes back to me at some point. But as I'm like, something will trigger it, something I'm reading through or talking about will kind of trigger it. But the main thing is that I kind of had this sense that there's so many people out there that try to conform so drastically without allowing themselves to kind of adjust to the process or kind of slowly, gradually get used to the information, understand it. So either one, they go way overboard and not even do the right things because they're misinterpreting it and don't fully understand it. Or two, they end up quitting and not doing it because they're like, this is way too different, way too radically like different. And they get either scared of it, uncomfortable, and whatever it is that feeling arises in them in their hearts and minds that makes them like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or they just they have this sense of trepidation. And so wanted to try to overcome that. And so we don't need to regurgitate a bunch of stuff that the same people have done and said. This is something that I feel like if God is speaking to me and speaking through me, this is something that he'll be able to find a way to take who I am, how I think about it, what my thoughts are and my interpretations, and also understand that my intent is good and that my intent is to connect people, to understand people, to find a way to bring them together regardless of what you believe and why. And so conclusion that I've come up to, at least right now, is that like God basically has no need for duplicates. He doesn't need people just going around copying and pasting and doing like regurgitating the same information that's been done before. So one thing that I've basically felt like was kind of came to me, or either spoken to me, or whatever you might call it. I'm not going to say like, oh, God's speaking to me in a dream or whatever, like kind of like this. And like, I don't want to like make anything up. I'm just trying to say what I'm like genuinely feeling, right? And so what I want to do is basically be authentic. And so if there might be some like potty mouth language or whatever, that's fine. I'm like, but that's just basically me being free to express myself while also trying to interpret what's going on here and then kind of blend it together to be able to form like what I just authentically get from it. And so like even recommends in the Bible, read it multiple times. Like I might be wrong when I first interpret something. And so I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. And so that if I maybe get something a little off, then all right, that's cool. That's fine. Read through it, read more about it, talk to other people instead of just reading things from the Bible by itself too, to be able to get feedback. So one, from you guys, and then two, from being able to go to church, to the classes. I do a lot of that with my mom. She's really into the Catholic faith now. Like she was into like non-denominational stuff before. And so she kind of tells me about it. But I just notice how it makes her, like she's really into it because it makes her feel comfortable. It makes her feel like welcomed and accepted. But it also is something that like she feels like she's actually getting a lot out of it, because like she's like learning a lot. Like she's not only just taking verbatim what people say, but they go and discuss it and they ask questions and they try to really get a better understanding of what these beliefs are, why they are the way they are. And then she also learns a lot about the history too, and a lot of things that she never even knew about before. And I think it's actually kind of fascinating. And I really like it. Kind of warms my heart to be able to see her be so passionate about something, and also being able to actually learn, because I love my mom to death, but she's always had a habit of kind of like being used to what she's always been exposed to and not really like not really having a naturally curious mind, like more apprehensive about trying new things and stuff. And this seems like kind of like one of the first steps, one of the first like big steps at least. Like she's tried new things and stuff like that if you kind of pressure her into doing it. But one of the things that this is one of the things that going to church and stuff like that for her has really kind of felt her make her feel like she has sort of a more of a sense of purpose and more of a connection to God. And so I just see how happy it's made her, and so I encourage that. So I'm not like, even though I might say certain things that might not be like super friendly to the religious beliefs and stuff like that, I see how happy it makes her, and so I'm trying to find ways to one, find common ground, and so two, to be able to, just be able to talk to people, so that way, like, even if like say people have disagreements or I have disagreements about like the stories in the Bible, I can here. I just want to, okay, I feel like I'm having a thought. I just want to preface this. And so like I'm kind of 50-50 on the like, does God exist? Does God not exist? I don't know. I feel like it's very audacious to say that God definitely does exist, but it's also equally audacious to say no, God definitely doesn't exist. So like people saying that God does or God doesn't exist and like saying that wholeheartedly, I'm like, that's a very, very dangerous statement to make, because I'm like, you can't be completely sure about that. And so like me personally, I rely more on like evidence, proof, and like not just this idea of faith, because I'm very skeptical about people telling people to have faith and trust me, you have my word, like all this stuff, because like all throughout the history of humankind, people in power have abused that power and have subjugated other people and oppressed them by using that same language. And so that's why I'm very apprehensive when it comes to people saying like, "Oh, have faith, trust me," and all this stuff. And I'm like, I feel like anybody who really has to go out of their way to say that and keep on reiterating that, there's a reason, there's a probably strong reason why you shouldn't trust them or shouldn't have faith in them and stuff like that. And so like it's just my personal history coming into it. And like I said, I'll take where I am, where I'm coming from, and then basically get a little feedback into the Bible, and then Bible speak to me, I'll speak on top of it, and kind of just going back and forth, and then more repetition, going through it again, talking to other people and trying to get their feedback and everything like that. Not just reading everything verbatim, but getting other people's interpretations as well, reading through it multiple times, and just drilling through it. And like I said, always under the condition that we're genuinely trying to do what's best, trying to be more connected, trying to be more understanding, and just trying to be the best versions of ourselves and of myself as I possibly can be in every moment of every day. So that's basically the goal. And if God's out there, he understands that intent. And so you should. So we'll see. There's a lot of other thoughts that I have on different possibilities of what could be in the universe and everything like that. Those will take so long to get through, but I have them written down. We can eventually get to those and other burning bush topics. But right now, our focus is the Bible and Bible studies. So I might go off a little bit on certain things and just like kind of express some ideas. Again, your feedback is always welcome. But what we're going to do is try to kind of rein it in somewhat, so we're not just getting completely distracted and spending the whole entire time doing explainers and rants and going off on tangents and doing all kinds of weird stuff. So kind of like I'm doing now, already spending 10 minutes doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and stop blabbering, or I wouldn't keep on blabbering, but more just on topic. But just felt like that was necessary to cover, and we can go ahead and get started. So again, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. We are on page 40 of the Single Kingdom of Judah. All right, here we go. What do we got? Oh, I got itchy all of a sudden. Here we go. Oh, wait. Back up. Sorry. Two kingdoms. Judah. Is this right? Is this where we left off? I'm sure it's the people. I think so, yeah. And then, so after 3 years, the kingdom of Israel comes to an end. Okay. This has to be. This is where I have my bookmark. All right. So the single kingdom of Judah. In 716, 687. Whoa, way off. Hold on, sorry, I'm still waking up apparently. Yo necesito café. Ora. All right, here we go. The single kingdom of Judah from 721 to 587 BC, or 587 or 586 BC. It's like a little splash there. Okay, I got that. From 716 to 687 BC, Hezekiah roots out pagan worship and strengthens the state. Sennacherib, king of Assyria, invades Judea and menaces Jerusalem. Hezekiah firmly retains his power. An unforeseen calamity forces Sennacherib to abandon the kingdom of Judah. Hezekiah affects a literary renaissance. Is that Renaissance? It's spelled different though. It's not spelled like Renaissance. Renaissance accomplishes magnificent civil engineering works and excavates the tunnel destined to bring the waters of Ain City, Miriam, Gibron to the pool of Siloam, built by him. Ooh, excuse me. In 687 BC, Manasseh is the most impious of all Judah's kings. He grants the most favor to foreign cults. He shows himself almost always as a loyal and servile vassal of the Assyrians. He is deported into Babylonia in chains. He is repentant and entirely submissive after a period in prison and is relocated on the throne of Judah by the Assyrian king. All right. Okay, so trying to go in chronological order here, at least for the most part. Like these are the time frames are a little bit trickier, kind of goes back and forth, but we'll try to keep track of time here. So I'm gonna mention the times when they occur, and so try to, stick to it for the most part. 642 to 640. Amon follows his father's footsteps and is killed in his home. Oh, dang. As a result of a plot on the part of his dependents. Oh, dang. Betrayal. Mutiny. Harsh. All right. In 640 to 609 BC, Josiah, or Hosea, son of Amon, initiates a radical religious reform. He repairs the temple of God and destroys every sign of idolatry. Opposing a military expedition of Necho, king of Egypt, he is killed in battle. Isn't Amon one of the guys from the Game of Thrones? No, House of the Dragon, I think. I don't know, besides the point. 609, Jehoahaz II, son of Josiah, elected as king of Judah by the people, is taken prisoner by Necho into Egypt, where he dies. Bummer. 609 to 598 BC, Jehoiakim, the other son of Josiah, rules as a tyrant. He protects the pagan resurgence. He prosecutes and kills the prophets. That's a no-no. Don't do that. He revolts against the late Babylonian kingdom and dies before Nebuchadnezzar's army reaches Jerusalem. In 597 BC, Jehoiakim, called Jeconiah, son of Jehoiakim, after reigning only 3 months, is deported to Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar. In 987 to 587 or 586 BC, Zedekiah, another son of Josiah, is the last king of Judah. Nebuchadnezzar besieges and destroys Jerusalem. He deports king and people into exile. The kingdom of Judah becomes a Babylonian province. All right, next section. No, I'm good. All right, from the Babylonian exile to Judas Maccabeus. from 587 to 538 BC, Babylonian captivity of the Hebrews. In 538 to 515 BC, the Hebrews return from the exile and begin the reconstruction of the temple. In 445 BC, Nehemiah is sent to Jerusalem and reconstructs the walls of the holy city. And this is looks like there's a question mark that precedes the next two. It says question mark 458 and question mark 398. So maybe they're not totally sure of exactly what year. So 458 to 398. Maybe that's kind of unsure, but around that time. Ezra is sent to Jerusalem and establishes the observance of the Mosaic law, the law of Moses. Zeus's law. I'm just kidding. No. Circa 332 BC, Alexander the Great conquers Palestine. In 305 to 285 BC, the Ptolemies hold dominion over Palestine. In 199 BC, the Seleucid kingdom occupies Palestine. Is that Haile Selassie or is that something different? I'm not totally sure. Well, either way, the Seleucid kingdom occupies Palestine in 199 BC. In 168 BC, Antiochus IV Epiphanes proclaims the abolition of the Judaic religion and dedicates the Temple of Jerusalem to Olympian Zeus. There's Zeus's law. Zeus's law. All right. Perfect. Sorry. Got a little excited. I've been watching I watched the Odyssey recently. So I like the idea of like Zeus's law. You like people travelers come through and it's like, all right, like make sure they're fed and taken care of. Show hospitality. Hospitality for your fellow man. Odysseus, a face. Oh man, from beginning to end, that movie's super cool. All right, Christopher Nolan. All right, page 41, the Maccabean Dynasty. Judas Maccabeus, the principal hero of the Jewish revolt against the yoke of Antiochus IV Epiphanes, gives his name to the Maccabean dynasty. It is composed of members of the family of the priest Mattathias. In 167 to 165 BC, Mattathias and his sons from Modain began the Jewish revolt against Antiochus IV Epiphanes, fierce enemy of the Jews. From 165 to 160 BC, at the death of Mattathias, Judas Maccabeus, his third born, takes over the waging of the war. He dies on the field of battle. And from 160 to 142 BC, Jonathan, fifth son of Mattathias, is acknowledged as high priest and leader of the Jews. He begins the struggle against Bacchides, Bacchides. He combats Apollonius, and defeats him. Attracted by peace proposals, Jonathan goes to Ptolemais to meet Trypho, but as soon as he arrives, he is taken prisoner and killed. Damn, so that was like it was pretty much like a fake peace, almost like a Trojan horse. So like basically it's like waving the red flag or waving the white flag, and then all of a sudden as soon as he arrives, like pulling the pirate flag up, like bitch, cannons, open fire, or taken prisoner and then executed or killed. Okay, different way, but y'all know what I'm saying. For the most part, I don't know what I'm saying sometimes. Just going. I'm just fine. I keep it reined in for the most part. 142 to 134. Simon Maccabeus, brother of Jonathan, assumes leadership of the Jews. He wrests, W-R-E-S-T-S, He wrests Judean independence from Demetrius II. He combats Antiochus VII, defeating him by means of his son John. It turns out to be the final victory of the valorous and aged Simon. He is betrayed and slain during a banquet by a certain Ptolemy, governor of Jericho. Ooh, it's like the Red Wedding or something. What was it called in Game of Thrones? It's like invite him for a meal and then just kills them all. Dick move. Dick move, by the way. Don't do that. Should be a war crime. Can't like feign surrender and then keep on fighting. That is severely punishable. All right, the Hasmonean dynasty. The Maccabean dynasty is succeeded by the dynasty of the Hasmoneans. The Hasmoneans, descendants of Simon Maccabeus. The Hasmonean dynasty is composed of 7 rulers who are also high priests. Hyrcanus II during the reign of Alexander. In 135 to 104 BC, John Hyrcanus, the first son of Simon Maccabeus, initiates the Hasmonean dynasty. He is an able military. Okay, he's an able military man who combats Ptolemy, the slayer of Simon, and Antiochus VII. His reign is a very prosperous one. In 104 to 103 BC, Aristobulus, the first Judah, firstborn son of John Hyrcanus, successor to his father, he annexes to Judah part of the territory of Iturea. Again, I'm so sorry if I mispronounce these words. Like these are all like very new to me, for the most part. Trying my best, but we'll see. All right, 107 or 103 to 76. Ooh, within the century. Okay, we're getting closer to Jesus. J-Dog, here we go. 103 to 76 BC, Alexander Jannaeus, son of John Hyrcanus I, succeeds his brother Aristobulus I. He is the first one of his dynasty to use the title of king. Bold and intransigent and dedicated to adventurous expeditions, he dies in battle. In 76 to 67 BC, Alexandra Salome, wife of Aristobulus I, seems to have been an ideal ruler. Lady ruler. Nice. In 67 to 63 BC, Aristobulus II, son of Alexander Jannaeus, leads a very adventurous life and is poisoned to death. The civil war that he undertakes against Hyrcanus II provokes the intervention of Pompey in 63 BC, after the latter's conquest of Syria for the Romans in 65 BC. In 63 to 40 BC, Hyrcanus II, son of Alexander Jannaeus, timid and slothful by nature, is forced after only 3 months to resign in favor of his brother Aristobulus II, but he is then named ethnarch of the Jews by the Romans. From 40 to 36 BC, Antigonus, son of Aristobulus II, is the last Hasmonean king. He lives in continuous fighting with the pretender to the throne, Harod. The latter becomes king by the will of Antony and Cleopatra and brings about the decapitation of Antigonus by the Romans. Oh, dang. They took his head. Ooh, brutal. From Herod the Great to Hadrian. In 39 BC to 4 BC, or better, before the Christian era. All right. Herod the Great, governor of Galilee, is proclaimed king of the Jews by Rome. Herod takes Joppa, conquers Medeba, besieges Jerusalem and captures it after a 3-month siege, occupies Samaria and has the temple rebuilt. He dies at Jericho and is buried in the fortress of Herodium near Bethlehem. All right. In the year of Rome, 747 to 748. Okay, we have the year of Rome, 754. Okay, so here, the birth of Jesus Christ in the city of Bethlehem. In the year of Rome, this is 747 to 748. And then beginning the Christian era, AD, This is in Rome, this is the year of Rome 754. So just, I guess, different dates that they had for the same time. So same time, just different dates depending on whether the Romans were saying it or Jewish and I guess not yet Christians, but people at the time or other people at the time were naming it. All right. In 4 BC to 6 AD, Archelaus, son of Herod the Great, and Malthace the Samaritan, succeeds his father with the title of Ethnarch of Judea, Idumea, and Samaria. It is a rule without glory. He rules for 10 years from 4 BC to 6 AD. He is then deposed by the Romans and sent into exile. From 4 BC to 39 AD, Herod Antipas, son of Herod the Great, and Malthace becomes tetrarch of Galilee and Perea, with his capital at Sepphoris, 4 miles from Nazareth, and later at Tiberias, which he constructs. He is not a wise king, called a fox by Jesus, and reproached repeatedly by John the Baptist for his incestuous adultery. He is sent into exile by Caligula and dies there. His tetrarchy with that of Philip passes over to Herod Agrippa I. 4 BC to 34 AD, Philip, son of Herod the Great and Cleopatra of Jerusalem, becomes tetrarch of Batanea. Gaulonitis, Trachonitis, Auronitis, and Iturea. He lives a peaceful and prosperous life. After 37 years of rule, he dies childless. In 6 to 41 AD, Judea becomes part of the Roman province of Syria, but is ruled by a Roman procurator with his seat at the seaport of Caesarea and with an official residence at Jerusalem. All right, from 41 to 44 AD, Herod Agrippa I, nephew of Herod and Miriam, or Mariamne, by favor of Claudius, becomes king of Judea and all of the lands that had belonged to Herod the Great. In 44 to 66 AD, all of Palestine becomes at the death of Agrippa I, a Roman province administered by a procurator. From birth of Jesus to the Jewish War. Let's see, we got time. Let's see, we can pick this back up. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this because we have this part, and then ending prayer. This video might be a little bit longer, so you wouldn't see that from the beginning, but this is the explanation why. So we just want to be able to finish this whole entire section, and then we can jump into the Old Testament and the preface to the Revised New American Bible, Old Testament. Okay. All right, so continuing on here. From the birth of Jesus to the Jewish War. From 7 to 6 BC, Jesus Christ is born in Bethlehem during the reign of Herod the Great at the time of the census of Quirinius. Okay. From 5 to 6 AD, at the age of 12, Jesus is taken to Jerusalem and speaks with the doctors in the temple. Then he returns home to Nazareth until his public ministry. In 27 AD, John the Baptist begins his 27 AD, John the Baptist begins his ministry of preaching repentance in the wilderness of Judea, and as a precursor of the Messiah, calls upon the Jews to undergo baptism in the Jordan. Jesus is baptized by John and begins to proclaim in Galilee the near advent of the kingdom of God. He gathers a group of disciples around him. In 28 AD, Jesus goes to Jerusalem for the feast of the Passover. In 29 AD, John the Baptist is imprisoned as a dangerous agitator for having denounced Herod Antipas's marriage to Herodias, his half-brother's wife. Shortly before the Passover, Jesus multiplies the loaves and promises the Eucharist. Philip passes over to Herod Agrippa the first. Oh wait, hold on, sorry. Whoops. Skipped way up to the top there. Shortly before the Passover, Jesus multiplies the loaves and promises the Eucharist. All right, let me try that again. All right, so also in 29 BC, or AD, 29 AD, Jesus again goes to Jerusalem for the feasts of tabernacles and dedication. In 30 AD, Jesus enters Jerusalem in triumph amidst a public demonstration acclaiming him as the Messiah. At the time of the Passover, Jesus is betrayed by one of his disciples. Was it Judas Iscariot or something like that? Because Judas is a name used by other people too. Like this is the one Judas. He was like, he's the infamous one for betraying Jesus. I think it's Judas Iscariot, if I'm not totally mistaken. He'll probably say in a second. But yeah, he wanted money. He wanted money. So he chose money over loyalty. All right. If you're watching the show The Chosen, that's actually one where you can kind of sense like precursors, or you can kind of detect like warning signs even in the show, where he's like talking about like, hey, we should be collecting money for gifts and stuff like that, or these miracles, or there's certain things that he was like, we should be collecting money essentially. And so Jesus was like, no. And so eventually Judas was like, he basically said like, no, we need money. And so it ended up going behind his back to do it and turn Jesus in. So he was very desperate for money. Again, there's like, people are more complicated than what they're painted in typically in history. So there's other things like The Chosen does a better job, and instead of just portraying him as a complete like sinister person that was like totally evil or whatever, like it actually kind of paints him more as like a human being, like, and kind of says why he may have done this, and which is good because like you're a little bit more truthful about it. You kind of give people a more realistic sense of the warning signs to look after, instead of being like, oh, this guy was evil, and like, because otherwise you give people that idea and be like, oh, this person, like, look out for evil people. And like, no, there's certain things that people make decisions based on experiences and needs and wants and desires and certain things, and you have to be able to fully understand where they're coming from and why, and like the different things, that nuances that people have. And you just got to be able to understand like what people are doing and why. I don't anyway. I don't know why I'm struggling to explain that. But yeah, there's various nuances in people. Like, people aren't all evil, people aren't all good, despite what history books, even the Bible, is going to try to paint them as. People who win wars or basically are the victors of whatever are going to basically rewrite the story and rewrite history, and the most dominant ones are typically going to take over, and that's going to get propagated. Again, like the game of telephone, it gets warped over time, and so it's not completely accurate, but that's why we take things with a grain of salt and make sure that we are not just taking everything verbatim, not just taking people's word for it and be like, yep, that's it. Like, no, just being able to understand that a lot of people, like, almost anytime anybody tells a story, especially if it involves them or somebody that they care about or somebody that they support, it's going to have some bias in it. And they're going to use certain words to make people that they disagree with or ideas that they disagree with sound worse, and ideas that they want to support and use as like confirmation bias and stuff like that. They're going to try to promote their ideas and ideologies and philosophies with things that are supporting statements and stuff like that. So I'll try to bolster what they agree with and tear down what they don't. And so just be very mindful of that. And this is one thing that we're approaching the Bible in that respect too, realizing that over time, a lot of these stories were warped and changed and manipulated to basically suit the people who are the authors and push a certain narrative. Not all of it propaganda, but a lot of it is. And so, you know, just trying to seek actual truth. And so doing that, and then kind of, yeah, just reading the Bible to try to understand where other people might believe things and why, and trying to more get them towards a better idea of the truth. Let's see, where were we? Holy Spirit. Okay, so in 30 AD, Jesus enters Jerusalem in triumph. Okay. At the time of the Passover, Jesus, portrayed by one of the disciples, arraigned as a pretender to the Jewish throne and instigator of revolt against Rome, and condemned by Pontius Pilate to be crucified. He rises again on the third day afterward. The Holy Spirit is poured out on the disciples, and the first community of the church is born. 35, martyrdom of Stephen, or Stephen. Some people insist on Stephen, but if you spell it with the PH, it should be like Stephen. Anyway, one of the first 7 Hellenist deacons. 37, conversion of Saul on the road to Damascus to persecute the growing Christian church. Retreat to Arabia and then Damascus. 45 AD, Paul's first missionary journey. Cyprus, Antioch in Pisidia, Lystra, and back to Antioch. In 49 AD, the Council of Jerusalem, at the insistence of Paul, and converts from paganism are exempted from the Mosaic law. Oh, hold on. At the insistence of Paul, the converts from paganism are exempted from Mosaic law. Okay. Probably to try to get them blend in together. So just get people to adapt more easily. You can't just have like radical change and not expect like retaliation or just dismissal of it. So welcoming people by just like gradually adjusting and stuff like that. Again, not being so rigid. That's exactly what a good leader does. Like somebody that's able to compromise, like not only collaborate, compromise, make certain sacrifices in certain things in certain respects to be able to be more inclusive. And so like over time, you can get people together first and then kind of like have a democratic way of conversing and exchanging ideas, and then, trying to come together in a peaceful, diplomatic way to be able to come to a more accurate, universal sense of the truth. Now, 50-52 AD, Paul's second missionary journey, Lystra, Phrygia, Galatia, Philippi, Thessalonica, and Athens. 53-58 AD, Paul's third missionary journey. He visits the same cities as the second journey and stays at Ephesus. Paul. Oh, he stays at, sorry, it goes on a little bit. Okay. Journey, and so he visits the same cities at the second journey and stays at Ephesus for 3 years, laying plans for another missionary journey. My bad, I didn't realize that it cut off over there. Continued over there. All right, from 61 to 63 AD, Paul is imprisoned at Rome, then set free. Possibly he visits Spain. España. 63 or 67 AD, martyrdom of Peter at Rome, and 67 AD, martyrdom of Paul at Rome. Now the Jewish War, well, quite a bit over time, but that's all right. We're getting through this whole section, so trying to get into the chunky, juicy bits. The Jewish War in AD, after the death of Herod Agrippa I in 44, Judea is ruled by Roman procurators. Their cruelties and excesses, their cruelties and excesses stimulate the fervent nationalism and messianic expectations of the people and revolt against Rome. All right, part 1 in the Jewish War, the war in Galilee from 66 to 70 AD, the Jewish War. Nero entrusts Vespasian with the task of bringing the Jews into complete subjection. Vespasian sets out from Antioch and joins the Roman army at Ptolemais or Acho, I don't know, in the spring of 67. At the same time, from Alexandria, Titus goes to meet his father at Ptolemais. In April 67, the Roman army under the command of Trajan and Titus occupies Sepphoris, Gadara, Jotbetha, Jaffa, Tiberias, Trachea or Magdala, Gischala or Safed, Tabor, and Gamala. In October of 67, all Galilee is conquered by the Romans. Part 2. The war in Perea and Judea. In June of 67, a Roman legion goes up to Mount Gerizim to put down a rebellion of the Samaritans. In May of 68, Vespasian conquers Perea. In May of 69, Vespasian occupies all the cities around Jerusalem, Gophna, Acrabatene, Bethel, Ephraim, and Hebron. In December of 69, Vespasian is elected emperor of Rome after the turbulent year that sees 3 emperors succeed Nero, Galba, Otho, and Vitellius. He entrusts his son Titus with the task of ending the war in Judea and returns to Rome. 3. Conquest of Jerusalem. In March of 70, Titus surrounds the whole city of Jerusalem. He places part of the army north of Jerusalem in the region of Gaba or Tel El Ful. B. He places another part on Mount Scopus. And C. He encamps the X Legion or the 10th Legion on Mount Olivet. D. He sets up his camp in front of the Sephinus Tower at the corner of the third wall. And E. He lets part of the troops pass and places it at the Hippicus Tower. Then the battle begins. After 15 days of fierce fighting, on May 25th, 70, the Romans take the third wall, batter it to the ground, and enter the quarter of Bezetha. Quarter of Bezetha. I don't know. I'm not sure where to put emphasis there. Titus places his command in the region of Gareb. Since Jewish resistance continues to be fierce, Titus builds a wall about 10 feet high around the city, following the routes Gareb, Bezetha, Mount Olivet, Kidron Valley, Valley of Gehenna, Abu Tor, and coming back to Gareb. The length is about 4.5 miles. All right, here we go. Where y'all at? Yeah, you guys will be here eventually. We'll come. The Lord will bring them to me. If you believe in that, so. Yeah, we're just doing the Bible study. It's not a huge deal. This is just part of one tiny aspect of many. This is just showing the process of being more well-rounded and whatnot. So there's a point to it. All right. Very good point. Leading by example. Basically just showing people that understanding others is a extraordinary quality to have. Makes you able to connect with people better, understand them more. And so if you want to change them, then you got to be able to understand them better, or at least it will help to expedite the process by understanding them better, being empathetic with them, and noticing their things that they're good at, things that they do good, and then also the things that they do wrong or their flaws, stuff like that. So being able to support them in the good things that they do, and then be able to change them and improve them based on their flaws, but in a responsible, ethical, and civilized and courteous fashion. Just going about it the right way. It's not always what you do, but how you do it. When the construction is finished, Titus attacks the fortress Antonia, and on July 15th, 70, the fortress falls into the hands of the Romans, who raze it to the ground. R-A-Z-E. Destroy it all. Excuse me, sorry. Turn that thing off. Has a mind of its own, man. Next comes the temple. The struggle is fierce, but on July 9th, 70, the temple goes up in flames, and the banners of the Roman legionnaires are raised in front of the raised, different, R-A-I-S-E-D, so different kind of raised. You raise it to the ground, you burn it or destroy it. And this is the other one. You raise me up. Oh, shit. Okay. It's good to have a sense of humor. I'm not gonna lie, like this book is a little boring. But that's why I try to have a little side notes and have a little humor with it. And like I break away from it a little bit. There's a whole point behind that too. It's like to make just the reading more interesting and stuff like that, more engaging. Like, wow, this is it's a tough read, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, it is a tough read. It is just it's not hard to read, like really, it's just it's not difficult and not able like you're not it's not like you're not able to understand it. It's just more like it's just so I feel like almost like poorly written, very biased, and just very, very boring. I don't know. I guess whatever. But we're getting through it. We have to be able to understand. So, what was that one quote I remember? I mean, the most mundane things, like behind the veil of the mundane hides the extraordinary, and something like that. So you pull back the veil, you trudge through, and like you pull back the veil of the mundane, and like whoa, like you see the things that are like amazing, extraordinary. Like just power through it. And a lot of times, like I think it was something like mathematician, like somebody like used to doing formulas and math and everything like that, and then you do that, and then they like eventually discovered something great. So like it's a good point. So same thing with the Bible. So you just got to push through it, and you tend to pick up a few things, and then read it multiple times, and again talk to other people, and you pick up different things, new things, get a more well-rounded experience. So that's pretty much the whole point. All right, so the Roman legionnaires' flags are raised in front of the eastern gate. In this circumstance, Titus is proclaimed emperor. Part 4, the Second Revolt. In 135, after the Second Jewish Revolt is put down with blood, the emperor, blood in 132 to 135, the emperor Hadrian rebuilds Jerusalem as a Roman colony. Aelia Capitolina, on the temple area, a statue of Jupiter is erected. Entrance to the city is prohibited to all Jews under the penalty of death. Dun dun dun. All right, the prophecy of Jesus is fulfilled to the letter. Jerusalem will be trampled by Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. It's not a very accurate prophecy, but okay. The ancient name of Judea is changed to that of Palestine, Syria. All right, there we go. And then we have abbreviations of the book of the Bible. Don't need to bore you guys with that, but I can read through that on my own. I'll do that right after this video, so that way, like I come in, if I confront those later on in the Bible, I could at least inform you guys on what they mean, if I can remember. There's quite a few of them here, but here, let's go ahead and just read this little section, and then we'll end with a closing prayer. So this is just a note here for the great, or for come on, English. We're speaking English here. Forgot about that. Trying to get my mind to catch up. All right. English. Note, for greater clarity and convenience, the footnotes and cross-references are printed at the bottom of each page and cross-indexed in the text itself. An asterisk in the text indicates that there is a footnote to the text in question. Each footnote is in turn clearly marked with the number of the chapter and verse to which it pertains. Similarly, a superior letter, or kind of like an exponent, but a letter in the text, indicates that there is a cross-reference to a particular verse. The reference itself is also clearly marked with the same letter. Hence, the reader is always aware of a footnote or cross-reference simply by reading the text. All right. Here, I'll go through this on my own, but we'll finish with a closing prayer here. We're going to wrap it up. Oh, we're almost an hour. Oh, no. All right. So closing prayer here. Closing prayer, the Lord's Prayer, modernized version. Our beloved Creator, who dwells among all things, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom will arrive upon the shoulders of your children. Your command will be fulfilled on earth as it is in heaven. Allow us to gratefully experience each day and each breath the spirit of life as an abundant feast of nourishment. Your word is truly sacred and enduring. Your blessings are the lifeblood we receive as a means to carry out your will. Please forgive us our offenses as we forgive our offenders. Have mercy upon all who vie deeply for atonement. Although we may act out of ignorance, make your divine grace known to all who desperately seek enlightenment. Do not lead us into temptation, but guide our impulses and protect us and deliver us from evil. For the entirety of creation is your domain, and we devote all power, glory, and praise to you, now and forever. Truly, kindly, and wholeheartedly I pray. Amen. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for that video. Good session, almost an hour long. Got through a good chunk of the Bible, and we're going to be getting up to Genesis pretty soon. So hopefully we can get that started by the next video, but we'll see. So then this one and the next one, we'll be able to finally get to it. So thank you for joining. Everybody have a super blessed, super miraculous day, and catch you on the next one. Go grab some breakfast. Woohoo!